This is Dr. Anahita Jafari, and she practices ancient Persian medicine, and she is the 6th generation in her family doing so.
The female side.
Female side. Okay, female side, which is unique as well,
Yes.
which is exceptional.
As the male side goes generation after generation, we have lost track.
I see. So there's even more.
Correct.
But ever since you were a little child, you were growing in that environment. And I think very early on, your grandmother asked you a question.
Yes.
And you said, yes.
8 years old.
8 years old, you decided this is what you're going to do. And she said, are you sure? Because this is not just a 5 to or 9 to 5 job or something like that, right?
It's not a job, actually. To be able to serve humanity and enjoy it, it's really not a job.
It's a privilege.
It is indeed.
Yes, and that's exactly what you show in everything that you do and everyone that comes your way.
I'm into that.
Thank you for that. So we have a question from a Richard. Even though today's topic is about women's health, women's breast health and awareness, and the importance of living in a holistic way of living and preventing things from happening and so on. Here's a Richard. He has a question.
Men also can get breast cancer.
Well, thank you.
We've had many cases of them. They don't take care of themselves. It can take over male or female's body. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so let's read the question. I saw your social media post and showed it to my wife. She is in remission right now, but I am concerned about reoccurrence. I know she could do better regarding what she eats, which is mostly prepared foods and not such great choices. I hope you pick this question because I want to watch this with her. What kinds of foods, diets, and treatments would help keep the cancer away?
Well, as you are already aware, and everybody is aware, cancer has existed for centuries and centuries and centuries. Every century that we advanced and we came towards modern times, the forms of cancer changed. Like 15 centuries ago, they had mostly skin and stomach cancer because lack of refrigeration and people walking on foot on our horses or mules in horse and carriages, exposure to sun and lack of sufficient water and not being able to rest sufficiently. Those are all main causes of basically those types of cancer. Now, in today's society, we have exposure to many types of chemicals also as well that the human body doesn't recognize and cannot function with it. Inside, the accumulation causes what my grandmother used to call lumps and bumps. When the body doesn't know what to do with it and is exposed to tremendous amount of chemicals in the body, so it tries to extract and get rid of most of it, but there's some that remains inside the body depending upon what type of chemicals they are, impurities they are. Basically, it attacks certain parts of our body, certain organs of our body. And the breast being such soft tissues and mostly fat, and they're very gullible to chemicals and matters that they haven't left the body to reside in them, to hide. Basically, they hide inside soft tissues. So to answer Richard's question, the most important part of remembering for any types of condition that we create, now they are conditions that we catch from the environment and viruses and bacteria and parasites and fungals, but cancer is not something that we catch. We bring it on into our body according to traditional Persian medicine, and many scientists today, they agree upon that. So his wife needs to mind not eating foods that they are outside of the natural form, meaning that if you take an apple and cut it up and add caramel sauce, which is burnt sugar and fat, and then you add burnt almonds into it to make it more tastier. Then you add chocolate sauce that is not really chocolate. There is so many different components when you read the bottle, if it comes from the bottle. And then it just keeps add on to it. The body can only process so many elements at one time. When it goes into the body, and if it's beyond that, it can't. The basic of understanding proper eating is 4 items. We see a lot of people juicing, they put 10 different types of elements, components in the juice. The body can't process that. 4 is all it can do at one time. So if she eats earthly, as my grandmother used to say, eat earthly, that means not from animal sources, because that's hard when you have cancer and many different types of conditions. The body can't process that. That's bringing on a lot of work to the body. And my grandmother used to say, you're taxing your body without having the money to pay for it. So that's when your body is in a detrimental condition that is very weak, in state of weakness, and you're bringing on matters inside the body, elements inside the body that doesn't have the capability to utilize it and discard it. It just stays there and it causes more problems. So vegetables are number 1, and from the organic sources, that's most important. And then grains, and we're not talking about white rice. We're talking about millet, number 1, because it's neutral and contains all the amino acids and it contains good fats. Then we're talking about buckwheat. Again, organic is very important, so it doesn't have chemicals and pesticides and whatnot, and hormones that is added to even grains when they're growing it to keep the pests away.
Are you talking GMO?
We are talking about GMO. I didn't want to bring that into it now, not yet.
Okay.
So when they're out of the natural forms is when the body has an issue with it. When you take food out, if you cook, for example, red lentils with organic red lentils, organic buckwheat, or organic quinoa, or organic millet, or all 3 of them, or black rice, all 4 of them, as one grain, and then you add red lentils with turmeric, you add onions and garlic to it, that's a meal. And then you have vegetables on the side of it. And when we talk about vegetables, we're not talking about frozen vegetables over here or canned vegetables over here. We're talking about food that just came out of the earth and is still in the state of freshness. If you take broccoli or cauliflower, for example, out of a garden, you have a garden, I have a garden, many people have gardens, you see the top is purple. It still contains a lot of oxygen in it, and that's what our body needs, beside the nutrients that is detrimental to the health of our body. And exposing ourselves to radiation, tremendous amount of radiation. I was in a conference with a Dutch scientist. I was talking about microwave ovens. This is years ago. And then now the cell phones. He was very firmly saying your cell phone needs to be 25 meters away from where you sleep at nighttime. How many people do that? Follow that rule? Yes, that means outside of your home, not even inside your home. And because when the body is resting, which is very, very important to our health of any kind of disease or just general health, if we don't sleep properly, we don't sleep delta sleep, very deep level of sleep, what happens to us? The lymphatic system cannot drain itself. Our heart can't function, the liver cannot function. Lack of sleep brings on many different conditions in our body. So water, quality of the water, which is very, very important. The tap water that a lot of people are still looking upon it that is healthy, I can drink it, I can boil it. Boiling it does not get rid of the chemicals. It gets rid of some of the matters that is in there added for cleansing the water so it would be drinkable. But the chemicals don't leave, they stay in there. And then when we're drinking it or bathing in it or showering, when the pores open up, all the chemicals keep penetrating the body and it goes inside the body, and guess what? We are adding on to the problem here. So I hope I answered your question,
I
actually, or
think
Richard's question, actually.
I would say you answered much more than just his question.
Now,
Yes.
one more important issue is supplementation.
Uh-huh.
Because no matter how organic we eat, unless if you're on this right behind us or on the side of us or in front of us is a fabulous or certified organic farm that we take the food right out of the earth, we bring it and wash it and make a salad or steam it barely to eat it. If it's not that condition, we still are not consuming sufficient amount of nutrients in our body. So we have to supplement ourselves. And by supplementation, I don't mean something that is made out of petrochemicals or some of the vitamins that is nothing, when you look at it, there's nothing earthly in it. It's all chemicals, chemically produced. So when we're looking for vitamins, we need to read the main ingredients in there to see what are the main ingredients. Is it all herbs, all vegetation, all fruits, or do we even recognize the names of some of these matters that are in the bottle? It makes my brain just explode when I see some of these vitamins in the market. I go explore because our patients come and ask questions. I need to know the answers. Or you go on the internet and you read them like, oh my God, this is called a vitamin. This cannot be consumed by the human body. And then the shell, if it's a capsule, is made out of more chemicals. If it's a pill, they have compounded the matters together, and then in order for it to stick and become a form of pill, they've put from talcum powder to shallot to whatever they can put their hands on. So please take supplements, but take them with awareness that not all supplements are made the same. You need to have certified organic and purchase from companies that on the label it says GMP certified. That means good manufacturing practice. That means the FDA goes in there randomly without their notice and they see exactly what they're doing. They take samples of the products and they go test it to make sure that what it says on the bottle, it is exactly what's in the bottle.
Well, thank you. This was quite an eye-opener. And just to mention, Dr. Anahita Jafari is an ambassador and a board member on the foundation's site, which I'm so happy and so grateful, grateful for.